Right, James, let's start with a positive. Right, Arsenal. Me and you, I come and sat with you in your normal seats. Had a very good time indeed. We went and had a pint or two or three or four, I can't even remember. Beforehand, my dad come, your father-in-law come, all very lovely indeed. Tap East at the bottom of Westfield, for those of you who don't know it, great little boozer. I don't really want to publicise it because it's actually quite easy to get a beer in there before and after games. And who walks past as we're having a pint? But Cheku Kuyate, now at Nottingham Forest, of course, just bowling through Westfield with what looked like his partner. I said, "Is that Cheku Kuyate?" He turned, gave it the old smile and wave, gave him the cheers, and he said hello to us, didn't he, as he was strolling out to his car. Lovely start to the evening. I was so close to not going to that game, but I just had a feeling in my soul that we were going to repeat the heroics in the League Cup at home as we did against Manchester City a season or two ago when we won on penalties. And it turned out to be exactly that. And I had a really, really good time. And I was absolutely delighted that I went.
It was a lovely evening, wasn't it?
Brilliant.
I mean, for me, it started annoyingly. Obviously, we met in Hampton Hall in Liverpool Street, and
of course,
ended up getting chatting to an Arsenal, a Brighton fan actually, weirdly enough, who just asked to purchase my pint on the end of his table while I waited for you. And next thing I know, he's asking me 101 questions. He's there with his Arsenal supporting mate. He's got a ticket in the Arsenal end, so I ended up talking to them too. I was like, "Come on, Will, hurry up, mate! Save me from this." So that probably led us to heading to Stratford a little bit sooner than we planned. But it was a good night. The football was great. The result was great. The company was great. Plenty of beers, good laugh, and it would have always been good. A win's a win, but the fact it was against them was just so wonderful, and especially when no one saw it coming. The Arsenal fans were rocking up there, 8,000 of them rocking up there, thinking they'd already won the game. Declan Rice probably rocked up there and thought it'd be a winning return. Nope, and we just rocked up there going, well, just a night out and it's a few beers on a Wednesday night. Why don't we just go? And it turned out to be a fantastic day. Just wonderful. Got to make the most of those. But then obviously you have those days and then you draw Liverpool away in the next round. So it's sort of
mate.
Mate, like, what's the point?
Don't even get me started on that. Yeah,
what's the point?
It's so bad that they do it straight after as well. And I remember being fuming when I went up to Derby away. For that game, I think that was last season, wasn't it? Went up to Derby away, and and they did the draw before the game, and we'd got Man United for the fifth time, Man United away for the fifth time in 7 years. And I saw a stat the other day after we got Liverpool. West Ham have drawn a top 6 team in the cup something like 17 times in the past 10 years or whatever. Way more than anyone else ever has. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, look, we'll focus on that negativity a bit. Let's just talk through some of the positivity a bit, because obviously this podcast is going to be a bit bleak with the Brentford defeat to talk about as well. I want to start, obviously, seeing Cheku Kuyate, great. Seeing you, great. Meeting your father-in-law, great. Seeing my dad, great. Beers, great. All going really well. Of all the good things, beating Arsenal, brilliant. I don't know where to start. We need to talk about your brother's bet at some point, because that was absolutely incredible. I've never seen anything like it. But I just want to start, so we don't forget it, to say in recent seasons, and just generally the last few years, the stadium moves part of it. But it's fair to say the experience of supporting West Ham is changing, right? It's different. The away ends, what with the point system, and you're getting the same sort of people in the away ends every week. I feel like the atmospheres are worse when I go to away games than they used to be when I was a bit younger. I think some of the originality of singing has died down a little bit. Obviously, at the London Stadium, you have watered down that hardcore, passionate fan base that used to get in at Upton Park with people who perhaps, I'm it is what it is. But people who perhaps aren't that bothered whether West Ham win or not, and they just go for the game and for something to do. Although I will say your seats were great. I thought the atmosphere was good, and I really enjoyed sitting there. But I just want to say, one thing that flew in the face of all of that the other night was when almost all of the London Stadium, when Declan Rice came on and West Ham were beating Arsenal 3-0, in unison, screaming or singing, "You should have signed for a big club. Sign for a big club. You should have signed for a big club." Absolutely spectacular. Nice and simple, really clever, really funny. Whole stadium joining in. Exactly what West Ham used to be about. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I thought it was great. And a lot has been said since about the reception that Declan Rice got.
Wasn't that bad?
It wasn't that. There was pockets of boos. There's pockets of, like people clapping here and a few cheers. And I think obviously Arsenal. I've seen some clips of Arsenal fans being incensed that we didn't all get up and clap and start singing his name. And it's like, well, hang on, he doesn't play for us anymore. So, like, yeah, okay, we'll show him a little bit of respect, and we'll, like what he helped us do last season and how good he's been for us over the last 3 or 4 years. Fantastic. Fact is, he's playing on the other team now. Doesn't play for us. Yeah. So we're not going to start clapping every time he touches the ball. And I think his first touch was an overhit pass that went out for a goal kick, and there was a big cheer.
That was amazing. Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, we're not going to like. Yeah, fine. But he was great for us. He was world class. He was always going to leave. We knew he was going to leave. The fact he signed for Arsenal was a kick in the low blow for us. So of course he's not going to get 60,000 fans all screaming his name again when he comes back. But I thought the reception was good, showing him a little bit of respect. And then as soon as the game kicks off after he's come on, he's not our player. Like, we're not going to respect him forever until he retires, and then he'll have mutual respect from everyone. But he doesn't play for us anymore, so we're going to boo him. There will be sets of fans.
No, I don't know about booing him, but yeah,
there will be sets of fans that will see the fact he's gone to Arsenal and gone, well, no, but he's a traitor. Yeah, that's that. Well, there will be fans that will think that. I'm more of the opinion that I still don't really understand why he's gone there.
I do,
but at the end of the day, he has gone there. He's been brilliant for them. Equally as brilliant as he was for us. He hasn't improved, I don't think. No, he's just playing with better teams, better players around him.
At the level that got him £105 million transfer.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, like the whole "you should have signed for a big club" was brilliant. Proper tongue in cheek, typical West Ham chant. And I thought, I mean, he came out afterwards and said, that it was great to play in front of the West Ham fans again. And he did a lap around the pitch after and clapped everyone. Yeah. Because he didn't really get the chance to say goodbye, really, did he? Because obviously the celebrations in Prague were for everyone, not just him.
Yeah.
So fine. I'm just buzzing that he's come back and he came off the bench and he was rubbish. And Arsenal were rubbish, and we got one over them, and kind of got to sing that song and kind of put that frustration that he's gone there to bed a little bit, I think.
Yeah, mate, I just we've sort of done it to death on this podcast. I think like Man City have got Rodri, who's probably the only player in their world who's better than Rice in that position. Man United, I don't think would have been a step up. They're a basket case at the moment. I think he's too good for them. He would have gone to Chelsea if they weren't such a basket case already. But if they weren't, if weren't such chaos over there, he would have gone there. So I think the only way, he's obviously not going to go to Tottenham because they're not as big as they think they are. Liverpool, sort of, again, they got Szoboszlai and they sort of didn't really want or need him, or perhaps couldn't afford the money. I think he was just, and because he didn't want to move abroad, Arsenal fans sort of saying, he picked it for the project. Obviously, he's going to say that, but let's be honest, that was the only big move he really had, and it was the time to go. So, while he's thinking, he's picked us because we're so amazing, it's not. He had to go there, I think. But
I get that. I get that. I think what happened on Wednesday night, I just think it was poetry. He left us because he wants to go and win trophies. And West Ham, the team he left to go and win trophies, has stopped him from winning a trophy.
Knock him out the first cup.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, he won the Community Shield. That's not a trophy; it's a certificate. I'm sorry, but
he won a friendly.
Yeah, he won a glorified friendly. So it's like the equivalent of winning the Betway Cup, which obviously we can't really win. So we can't say much. But yeah, like it was poetic the way that it all happened. Banging on about how he's left to win trophies, and then we stop him from winning one. Fantastic, love it. That's what football's all about, isn't it?
Spectacular. The West Ham were brilliant. The high press they played was phenomenal. Jared Bowen up front was spectacular. Mohamed Kudus was really, really good. I thought the whole team played with a higher level of press. And to be honest, it sort of played out how we said before when we were like, well, look, Moisey's boxed himself into a corner here whereby he sort of forced himself to play a big team because he can't afford, after what had gone before, Olympiacos and Everton, to go out there and get absolutely humped by Arsenal. Michail Arteta couldn't have made it more obvious that he doesn't give a stuff about that competition with the team that he picked. So sort of the stars aligned and it made for a great evening. Let's just tell everyone about your brother's bet because, like I say, I come and sat with you for the game, and your brother was there, who I know very well, and you explain because I've never seen anything like it.
Well, I'll tee this one up by just clearing out that my brother has a tendency of putting on what initially appear to be just ridiculous bets.
Yeah.
I think he told you that I once talked him out of when we played Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup when we played the kids years ago. We lost 5-0. He saw the lineup and went, "I'm putting 50 quid on us losing 5-0." And I went, "Don't be so stupid. Do not put 50 quid on 5-0. Just leave it." He didn't, and obviously he would have won a hell of a lot of money because we did get beat 5-0. So that's the way his brain works. Sometimes he sees things before they happen. So he put, I think it was 20 quid on West Ham to win 3-0 on Wednesday night. Would have returned something like 850 quid. I think. 800, something like that. And obviously we're 3-0 up and he's going, "Oh my God," and you can see the cash outs slowly climbing. And at one point he went, I'm not cashing. I'm just going to let it run."
Well, I told him to cash out at 230. It was when we went 3-0 up. I was like, someone's going to score again. Like 230 is a great return. No way it's staying like this. And he's like, no, I'm sticking with it.
He's like that. He's like, well, I put the money on to lose, so I'm just going to carry on and see how we get on. Didn't Arsenal won a free kick in the 93rd minute right on the edge of the area, didn't they? Just before their goal. And then it flashed up. I think it was like £740 cash out. And he went, "Right, I'm taking it." Yeah. And he took it. And 20 seconds later, Arsenal score. Yeah. And he jumped up and celebrated like he was an Arsenal fan. There were a few looks, and he kind of just went. I think a few people had overheard us anyway, so kind of understood. But there were a few looks like, "Hang on, mate, what?"
Mate, I know. He was like, "No, it's all right."
He had to explain himself, but just lucky. I say lucky. That it's not even lucky because he does it a lot. Like I'll be speaking to him in a pub before a game, and I'm like, "Have you got any bets on?" He says, "Yeah, I've just about 50 quid on this, or I've just done 20 quid on that." And just like, "Mate, why are you putting that bet on? It's never going to win." And a week later, he's like, "Oh, I won that bet last week." It's like, why? Like if I put 50 quid on the thing is, the thing that annoys me is if I'd have put 20 quid on West Ham to win 3-0 on Wednesday night, we would have lost 3-0. Yeah, like, that's the way. It's just what happens. But he does it, and it comes in. So fair play to him. Those that are listening, I did tweet about it on the We Are West Ham Twitter account. I did post the screenshot of the cash out to show the time that it was cashed out and the time of the goal. But yeah, fair play to him.
I bet I've never seen anything like it. It was absolutely, genuinely was unbelievable. But look, Jonesy, a very good. Have you got anything else sort of to chat about regarding that Arsenal game before we move on?
Well, I don't think it was. I think this kind of is also relevant to the Brentford game. Really, there's a bit of a crossover given the form he's in. But we expected Kudus to start on Wednesday night. And I think he's proving that he probably should have been starting earlier, if I'm quite honest. But it looks like he and Bowen are forming 2 out of what could be of a great trio of attacking players if we just sort out the striker situation. He's scoring goals now. He's got 5 now. Because did you not? I don't know. No one actually realised this, but the UEFA have low key given Kudos that goal that went down initially as an own goal against Baka Topola when he scored. We thought he scored 2.
Right.
But UEFA have overturned it and actually given it to Kudos. So he's got 5 goals this season.
Right.
He's in form. Bowen was on the other side. He's banged in 8 already this season. And he's now, like, the fact that he's starting games shows that he probably should have started earlier, but it just gives just a lot more to us on attack. For finishing against Brentford was outstanding.
Yeah.
And it's just great to see now there isn't so much reliance or over-reliance on Jarrod Bowen. The fact we've got another goal, like he's finished against Arsenal, the way he brings that, just plucks it out the air.
Yeah, I mean, what a goal that was.
And it was a superb ball from Maguire, but the way he's controlled it with one touch, taking the defender away, taking the defender out of the game with a touch, and then just slotted it past Ramsdale.
That little Cruyff touch as well, wasn't it?
It's a little Cruyff touch, yeah. Yeah, it's just world class. And then the goal against Brentford, he backs it up with a goal like that. Like, we've now got 2 quality goal scorers in our front 3. You sort the striker situation out in January. That is an attacking 3 that is class. That's top 6, top 7 front 3.
Yeah.
And it's great to see, because I was getting concerned that he's not getting a lot of game time. He's not starting enough matches, which means he's not going to hit a great run of form. People are going to be a little bit underwhelmed by him because he's not getting a lot of minutes, which means he's not getting goals to justify his price tag. And all this pressure's on Jarrod Bowen to fire us into Europe again.
Yeah.
And instead, it looks like it's just taking a little bit of pressure off Jarrod Bowen because we've got another player on the other side of the pitch that can do it. Sort of striker situation out, and our attack is finally looking very, very nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of, it's a crossover between the 2 really, because he had a good game against Brentford as well, I thought. But
yeah, no, I quite agree, mate. Obviously, Ben White's own goal got us off to a start. That was a Bowen corner, I think, and then Kudus' goal. Yeah, I've never seen. I didn't really realise. Hard to tell at the time. It was quite funny actually, because I was just coming back from half time. The ball goes over the top, and as the long ball gets hit, I accidentally tripped up the bloke. I was like walking. I walked out the tunnel back towards my seat, and as Aguerd hits the long ball, I was looking at the ball and accidentally tripped over the bloke who was walking in front of me. So Aguerd's hit the ball. I've tripped the bloke over, and I've gone, "Oh no, sorry, mate, sorry." And he was like a bit mood about it. Like, it was a total accident because I was watching the game, not where I was walking. So I've tripped him. He's like, turned around and was a little bit shirty. I'm like, sorry, mate. And I'm thinking, here we go. Like, he's going to get a bit naughty here. And then, literally, like, as I'm sort of doing that, thinking, sorry, everyone like goes up, 60,000 people cheering their heads off. And, the bloke's like turned round, and I'm like cheering as well. I just ducked around him, gone back to my seat, happy days. So I didn't actually see the goal, but it's only afterwards seeing that that touch and what a finish it was. Yeah, really a class act. And Jarrod Bowen getting the sort of fortunate finish at the end. It was funny, wasn't it, James, watching the grief Aaron Ramsdale was getting, and West Ham sort of worked him out. Really high press, which isn't something you see from the Hammers that much. Really, really brilliant game. Really enjoyed it. Loved seeing all the Gooners streaming out well before the end. West Ham only had 3 shots on target and they scored 3. Absolutely delightful. 28% possession, but a thoroughly professional performance. Liverpool away in the next round, James, week leading up to Christmas. The only slight consolation is that game for them is wedged between fixtures against Arsenal and Manchester United. So our record at Anfield is atrocious. The only thing I'm holding, because I was so angry, I'm just like, it's just boring with the cups. Like you say, what's the point when we just get like hard, difficult teams all the time? Like, just give us a bit of luck for once, for God's sake. But we'll get a few fans up there, which will be good. I don't know. The one, like I say, I'm holding on to the fact that they're playing Arsenal that weekend. They got Man United the week before. So will the stars align again? And David Moyes realises that, we're in a quarter-final here. the same thing happened at Arsenal. If I play a strong team against Liverpool, they're going to be resting players big time. Not that guarantees us a win, but as we saw with Arsenal, a bit more of a chance to get something. They'll be resting players big time. Port Vale and Macclesfield, is it? Are still in the draw, or Mansfield, whoever it was. No, Middlesbrough. What am I talking about? Sorry, Port Vale, Middlesbrough. Yeah, they're still in the draw. So you beat Liverpool, you give yourself half a chance of, you've got a reasonable chance, a 1 in 3 chance of drawing one of those two teams in the semi. You could be in a League Cup final all of a sudden. Do you think that's the approach David Moyes is going to take? And am I just being a bit naive and getting a bit giddy after the stars aligned and we beat Arsenal?
Well, I said it a few weeks back that David Moyes, if I was David Moyes, I'd be looking at the League Cup and going, this is a competition that I should be trying to go far in and try and potentially get to a final in. Especially after winning the Conference League last year. But I don't know. I see where you're coming from with, where the fixture lies for Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool are going to be too bothered about the game, regardless. I don't think Klopp's that fussed about this competition. He's always complaining about too many fixtures. So why would he want to go deep in this competition? But I don't know. I just feel like David Moyes away from home against top 6 clubs is just atrocious. We've only won once at Anfield in 58 years, or whatever it is. I just feel like it's one of those games where, because it's Anfield and because it's Liverpool, we probably wouldn't get there. They could play their under 16s and we'd probably still struggle to beat them. And it's purely because it's Anfield. We just don't win there. But if I'm Moyes, I'm going there with a full strength side. Obviously, if injuries we haven't got any injuries, go there with a full strength and go for it. Because you're right, you get into the semis, the teams that are left in it, we've got an opportunity to get to a League Cup final. 2 finals in 2 years. I mean, that was impossible. There's always been impossible in our lifetime, let alone the last 4 years. Yeah. So to do 2 finals in 2 years, unbelievable. So yeah, great. Let's we should go there and give it everything and go for it. Try and take advantage of the fact that it's fallen awkwardly for them in their fixture schedule.
Yeah,
but
it is before that important Christmas time, isn't it? I think it's scheduled for the 20th of December at 8:00 at the moment. So it does, that Christmas period busy enough anyway. But look, you got Chelsea, Newcastle in the other quarters, Everton v Fulham, Port Vale v Middlesbrough, and I mean, Liverpool, you back yourself. You need to do that and then get a home draw against one of them. Is it this season? Have they already scrapped the 2-leg semi-finals for the League Cup?
I think it's from next season. Yeah, it's from next season.
But look, I mean, I don't know. You get through.
I think there's only one team left in it that I don't back us to beat over 2 legs, and that's Newcastle.
Yeah, and Liverpool
to beat Chelsea. And Liverpool, yeah. But if we get the semi-finals and avoid Newcastle, we've got a massive chance. I back us to beat Chelsea over 2 legs.
Yeah,
Everton, Fulham, Borough, and Port Vale, definitely. So
yeah,
big opportunity for us, but I just don't know because it's Liverpool. Just don't know.
Mate, massive. Well, look, fingers crossed. Anyway, I've got to hold on to a bit of hope. Look, James, let's talk about it then. Brentford. I don't really know what to say. Really, I need to stop going on Twitter. I also say that all the time. The Moyes out brigade are back. It's boring, lads. It's really boring. Just whenever we lose a game, it's like, yeah, Moyes out. It's like, as I've explained, and as I'm going to keep on banging the drum for, I think we are probably on the trend line now for the season with those games. I don't think you'd have said we'd have beat Chelsea or Brighton, but I think you'd have said we'd have beaten Everton and maybe got a point against Brentford. I don't think a point would have been bad, really. They're a good side. They're better than people give them credit for, just because, they think, little old Brentford, they're really well run. They've got some good players. And I think they're better than you think. So I think an away point there would have been good. I know the Prem record don't look good. 1 win in 7. And obviously that's not great. The Everton one's the bad one, right? I think that's the one that the proper turd in the punch bowl, or whatever the phrase is. But ultimately, I think it's worth making the point, James, before we go on to the specifics of the game, that all right, we're 11th in the table now, which isn't ideal. If we'd have got a point there, we'd have still been 9th. We'd have been above Palace, and Brentford wouldn't have gone above us. I just sort of think in the last 7 games, I think it is, we've played 5 of the top 7 teams in the Premier League. In the league, we got a good point against Newcastle. Aston Villa are absolutely flying, and we've had Liverpool and City as well. I don't know. Everyone said we had a difficult start to the season. So the fact we've got 14 points after 11 games, with some more, let's be honest, some more favourable fixtures coming up. These are our next league games, right? Forest at home, Burnley away, Crystal Palace at home, Tottenham away, Fulham away, Wolves at home. Like, it's not inconceivable that you perhaps only lose one of those games, really. And if we do that, there'll be a few wins in there. There will. We all know that. And all of a sudden, I think we'll still be there or thereabouts come the turn of the year, like 8th or 9th or whatever. So again, it's frustrating at the weekend. We scored a couple. We need to work on our defence. That much is obvious. Like you said, James, we can't keep a clean sheet for love nor money. But just before we go into the specifics of the game, I think it's worth remembering that holistically, I think in the table, we're doing all right in Europe. We're still doing okay. Do you know what I mean? I refuse to get drawn into this is a nuclear Armageddon disaster. Like so many people are so desperate to do just for clout, it seems, on social media.
Oh, it's definitely not a nuclear disaster. Like, it's not. But, you know, our aim this season is to finish in the top 8 and qualify for Europe again, right?
Yeah.
I think eighth this year will be a European spot, given the way that the Champions League and Europa League draws are going to be. They're changing the competition. So we should be looking at finishing the top 8, qualify for Europe again. We're currently 4 points behind 8th, Man United in 8th. So it has the potential to be quite damaging, this current run of form, because you want to be going into Christmas and coming out of Christmas in the mix. You don't want to be too many points behind and then having to play catch up for the second half of the season. So that's why this weekend we need to get a result, and we need to. You mentioned that run of fixtures we've got. Unfortunately, I'm only looking at probably Tottenham away as one, though. I'm going.
Of course, yeah.
That's probably one that we might not come away with anything from, given the form they're in. Other than that, there's points to be had. If you win most of those games, you're back in the mix, definitely, because Brighton haven't won in 5 or 6. They're going to start dropping. They're on 18.
Yeah.
Villa lost at the weekend to Nottingham Forest. Like, means that they're capable of dropping points. And United, I think you said it earlier, they're a basket case, and they're definitely going to continue dropping points and losing games at some point. So we've got a chance. But what we don't want to do is just continue falling behind or not start making ground up on that top 8 again, because that's the ambition. We want to go into the second half of the season in the mix for that, as opposed to, we need to claw back 5 points here. Where are those 5 points going to come from? Where is everyone else going to drop points? And we're more than good enough to be in that conversation with Villa, Newcastle, Brighton. I'm going to leave Man United out of it. Those 3 clubs are currently 5th, 6th, and 7th. They're the 3 clubs we should be competing with.
Yeah.
And at the moment, we're 4 points behind, and we're 8 points behind Villa in 5th. Like, we need to start picking up those points again. Otherwise, the top 8 dream could be over before the second half of the season.
I agree, but I think that will happen, right? I'm gonna go through the games again. Nottingham Forest at home, and I've already just done a little calculation while you were talking. Right, I reckon by the 23rd of December, after we play Man United at home in the lunchtime kickoff, that we'll have got 16 more points than we've got now, right? So that may be a little bit overly ambitious, but I don't think it necessarily be a million miles away from that. Right, so Forest at home, win. Burnley Burnley away win. We sort of do all right there, and their pants. So there's 6 points. Palace at home. I'll back us there. I know they're all right. They're tough to beat, but game we should win. So I'll give us a win there. That's 9 points. Tottenham away. Okay, yeah, they're flying. You probably lose that game. Fair enough. A draw away at Fulham. I fancy that, leaves us on 10. And then Wolves at home and Man United at home. 2 wins there, 16 points. Happy days. All right, couple of those, that's probably a little bit ambitious. A couple of those might turn into draws. You may even lose a couple. But if you get 13 points or 12 points from all of those, I think that leaves you in a pretty reasonable position. You're on 26 then. You're not quite at the halfway point of the season. You're on 26. We've got Arsenal coming up. And then sort of still leaves us a bit of breathing room for the second half of the season. I agree with you that it's important to tackle those next few games with vigour, but I don't see any reason why we can't get, at least that many points. So I'm saying 16. That will leave us on 30 points. Not even at the halfway mark of the season yet. Can you see anything other than that?
I think what you've just outlined there is 100% doable. But we look to, it's the thing that's frustrating me is the recent league form has made me wonder whether, on paper we should be beating Forest, Palace, Wolves. But will we, given this current form? That's the frustration. We need to win against Forest on Sunday.
Yeah,
get back to winning ways in the Premier League. It's all very well beating Arsenal in the Cup. Go and beat Olympiacos on Thursday night. Yeah, great, wonderful.
Well, that's important. The Olympiacos
that's all good. The Olympiacos one is important, obviously.
Yeah,
but it's all very well winning those games. But at the end of the day, we still need to be winning in the Premier League. Otherwise, it's going to end up like it was last year. Thankfully, there's currently 4 teams sitting at the bottom of the Premier League that are going to be well cut adrift before Christmas. They're going to be miles off it. So, that's we haven't got to worry about, we might be going down. It's terrible.
No, but we are definitely not getting relegated. Let's just say that
but what we don't want is to continue this current run of form, and then suddenly we're sitting in 14th, 15th, and we're 8 points off the top 10. And it's like, oh my God, we've gone from being top of the league in August to now going, we might not even finish in the top 10. And that could potentially happen if we don't start winning games now. We're on a poor run of form in the league. We've got to change it. If we do change it, then we're back in the mix for top 8, which is where we should be and where we want to be. But it's all about turning it around now rather than having to play catch up in the second half of the year.
Definitely. We need 3 wins. I'm with you on that. We're aligned on that. We need 3 wins from 3, don't we? Olympiacos Thursday, Nottingham Forest at home, then Burnley. With 3 wins from 3 is absolutely vital. Brent, we should have saved that for final thoughts. That was a lovely little roundup. But Brentford then, I don't know, where do you want to start, really? The blaming of Moyes is ridiculous. We're going to have this conversation time and time again. It's like Groundhog Day on this podcast, and any time I talk to any West Ham fans. Michail Antonio's rubbish. What more is there to say about it? He misses that open goal. That would have turned it 3-1, I think. Joe Bowen, I think it was, whipped it across the goal. Benrahma's way in the back post. The absolute hilarity for me lies in the fact that West Ham fans are kicking off saying, Said Benrahma would have definitely tapped that one in. So, I'm not so sure about that, lads. But the fact of the matter are, he probably would have done. But Michail Antonio should be scoring that. It's just absolutely farcical, ridiculous state of affairs.
It's definitely not Moyes' fault that we lost that game.
It isn't Moyes' fault, no.
Right, it's definitely not. It's definitely not. The fact is that Mavropanos has scored an own goal where he shouldn't be trying to flick that over the bar in that position. It should be going straight back. The ball should be going straight back to where it came from in that position. Yeah. For some reason, he's tried to be clever and flick it over for a corner and backfired. And the whole Benrahma Antonio thing, for me, that's not Antonio's ball. He's stretching for it. That's why he misses, because he's stretching for it, because it's not his ball. Yeah. That's it. That's Benrahma's ball to tap in. For some reason, he's stuck a toe at it, and that's why he's missed it. And you saw Benrahma's reaction, absolutely livid.
Yeah.
And I just don't really understand why he's gone for it. None of it makes any sense because
you score, maybe
you're going. Yeah, maybe it is that, but he got his assist earlier in the game for Kudus' goal. I mean, he's one closer to getting Noble's back. He's got 10 to go, I think, though. But just do the simple things, which is if you can't reach the ball, leave it for the teammate that's right next to you, who's closer. And he's not. He's tried to be greedy and he's tried to tap it in and he's gone wide or over, whatever it did. I don't know, but it's just ridiculous. It was a good ball from Bowen.
And that changes the game as well, doesn't it?
It does change the game. It changes the game because you go in at 3-1, especially having been 1-0 down, and you come out with a little bit more confidence.
Yeah, definitely.
Brentford are hit. We said the similar thing with the Villa game. With giving away the penalty so soon after the half time. It's only you do that, and suddenly you're on the back foot again. And you miss opportunities like that, like the one against Brentford, and that gives Brentford a little bit of hope. They're going, right, well, we're still in this, boys, at half time. And then the own goal's the own goal. Like, just shouldn't be doing it. And then I think even for their third one, Collins is jumping up between Aguerd, who's taller than Collins, and Soufal, who just shouldn't be challenging. And he's beaten both of them to that ball. Like, should have been defended better. I think the defending for the first goal, Mopé's first goal in about 700 years, defending awful. Should have been kicked out. Should have been cleared easier.
Keystone it's not Moyes, he called it, didn't he? I don't know what that means, but
I don't really know what it means. But at the end of the day, with all that considered, it's not Moyes' fault. I think defensively we were poor, and we have been for a lot of this season. That's reflective in the fact we've only kept one clean sheet in all competitions against Sheffield United. And having a striker that is so desperate to score, he's taking goals off his teammates.
Yeah,
and that's a problem when you got a striker that hasn't scored and is so desperate to score that he starts doing things like that and making decisions like that, which is costing us.
Mate, I don't necessarily think like the fault lies in the fact that he's gone for it. I just think Paul put it in. It's more the fact he's missed it.
I think the reason he misses it is because he's stretching for it. Because it's out of his reach and he's stretched for it. Don't stretch for it. Just don't stretch for it. You can see Benrahma's next year.
I don't know if he would know that, though, would he? Would he know that?
Oh, I mean, the fact I'm not giving him credit. Like Benrahma.
No, I'm giving him a bit of credit, maybe.
Benrahma would have shouted. I haven't seen whether he did, but you'd have think he would have gone, I've got it, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever he shouted.
Pennies.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to score against my old team.
If he's done that, then even worse from Antonio. Just mate, it's well ahead of you. It's coming away from you as well. The way that Bowen's put it in. So no, I think he's cost us for that because his desperation to score. I just don't think it's good enough. And like I said earlier, with Kudus and Bowen either side, if you replace Antonio with a half decent striker, that's a front three that's going to be lethal.
What about what about I say it's not Moyes' fault. He brings Danny Ings on again, and I said before that bloke should never play for West Ham again. It's insulting every time. So it's not Moyes is completely devoid of blame, and that's when I spoke to Jack Rosso, who's a friend of the show and a sports reporter, football Premier League reporter for the Sun. He was at the game, and I said to him, I was like, surely, going in on Moyes for bringing Ings on. And he said, to be fair, you looked awful before that. Like, you looked terrible before that. But what's I honestly, it's bad now, isn't it? The Danny Ings thing. It's bad. I don't know if he's trying to prove a point or what he's trying to do, but Divine Mabama must be really, really bad and rubbish. Or why not do what you do when you're making the changes and leave Bowen up front? Fornals, all right, look, he had a stinker at Olympiacos away and his mood is generally down. He's perhaps not as effective, but he's not as bad as Danny Ings. I know he put that effort over at the end, didn't he? Probably, it'd be nice to see that go on target. But he's not as awful as Danny Ings is. Danny Ings is insultingly bad now. And why not put Bowen up front, as he played so well against Arsenal, and then put Fornals in behind or whatever? He left Kudus on anyway. I don't know. He did 2 subs, didn't he? Fornals and Ings come on for Antonio, and I don't know who the other one was.
Benrahma, I think.
Was it Benrahma? Yeah, right. Yeah. And I just think, honestly, no West Ham fan is looking at that like clapping or thinking it's a good idea. It's really bad, and it's insulting to the fans who've paid their money to go. That is, he shouldn't play for West Ham ever again. And Divine Mbama, I think they're trying to sort of put the pressure on to make him sign a new contract, but that's not the right way to go about it, is it? I don't know if there's been some sort of bust up or whatever, but he don't want to sign a new contract, probably because he's like, well, what opportunities am I getting behind this donkey? Who's getting 125 grand a week to just go and he's just bad, really bad. But yeah, so Moyes does have to take a bit of responsibility there. I don't know. I suppose we have to, let's sign off, James, shall we? Unless you got anything else to add about the game in general, by saying well done to Brentford. They are really good. They are a good team. They're well organised. I think West Ham lost that game as much as they won it, and I'm not, slagging them off. They're a good football team, but they were there for the taking. And if we have a proper centre forward, that's 3-1, and it's a difficult game to come back from for them, I think. So credit to them for persisting, and it was only one team going to score at the end, even when it went 3-2. They looked like they were going to add another one. So credit to Brentford before we get any Bees fans in the comments going, "Oh, it's big club bias, all that sort of stuff." You were good. We were also quite bad. But I suppose, hats off to Mo Kudus for that excellent goal, I suppose. Jonesy, is it a good way to sign off, unless you've got anything else to say?
No, nothing else to say. It was just a lovely finish. So I was sort of the goal update come through on my phone and straight to Twitter to see whether someone had posted it. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, that is a wonderful goal. Like I thought it was one against Arsenal was good, but what a finish that is. Even adds a little bit of curl on it as well, which is fantastic. Yeah. So, do you want him to keep scoring, because now he's in a team?
Yeah,
his confidence is going to be up. We know he can score goals. Banging him for Ajax early this season, let alone the last 2 years before that.
Yeah.
So we know what to expect from him, and now we're beginning to see it, and it's exciting. We've got another wide player that can score goals. If he's going to chip in with goals like that every other week, then even better, because it's just a wonderful finish. It's definitely a contender for goal of the season.
Yeah, quite agree, mate. Quite agree. Listen, it's the game was, the result was bleak. The game not so much. Well, I suppose it is. But I honestly just think that is a different game if Michail Antonio puts that in. So it's easy to bang Moyes. It's easy to bang the defenders. Like, you're going to concede goals in football. That's what happens. But you can't be missing opportunities like that. I just want to sign off, James. This is a good way to sign off. Before we move on, we'll do the Betway charity bets next, by the way, then some final thoughts. I'm just going to read out. This is going to be the sign. I've not going to say anything else. This is from Brad Stevens, regular listener to the We Are West Ham podcast. He's message from Australia. Good day, Will. Hope you're well. Was up at 2 a.m. to watch the Hammers play. Didn't expect too much from Brentford away, a tough game, but flipping hell, I reckon I'm worth at least 50k a week, and stick me up front for 30 minutes, and I reckon I get a touch. That's half the price of Danny Ings. All this garbage that he doesn't suit Moyes' style or whatever, I'm not having it. Adapt or don't bring him on. Don't care if Mbama's not good enough or whatever at this point. He can't be worse than Ings. I feel sorry for the kid watching minutes go by. He could have had that. Just results in getting absolutely nothing from Ings. I do not want to see him come on again. Hoping you're of the same opinion and rant about him on the pod, because normally when you do that, they'll come out and score a winner. That's from Brad Stevens there. I'd already ranted on the pod. Brad, thanks for listening as always. Thanks for all of you for listening. Get in touch if you fancy it, and we'll read some more of your comments out. But I think case closed there. Danny Ings should never play for West Ham again. Stay